55. It's going to be that number 1 lane, 56.
56 and line up.
57.
Got it.
Locked them.
Go.
It's a good one.
Hey everybody, Mike Burkholder, publisher of East County Today, and I have spent the last couple days with local law enforcement, East Contra Costa County, as they kick off their traffic safety campaigns, especially for the month of April. On Monday, I was with Brentwood as they kicked off the Obey the Sign, Pay the Fine campaign, and basically what they were out doing is kicking off a year-long campaign to basically get people in Brentwood to slow down, get off the cell phone, and basically obey the traffic signs. And then on Tuesday, I joined local law enforcement, which included Antioch, Brentwood, Oakley, Pittsburg, and the CHP, as they were in Oakley and Antioch doing their monthly patrol where the agencies get together and do traffic enforcement. And on Tuesday, they had actually about 150 tickets, or citations, I should say, of a lot of speeders in Antioch. And they patrolled around James Donlin and Lone Tree. And they even got one guy at 87 miles an hour on James Donlin, which I posted the video yesterday. Anyway, here's a recap of the day's activities, and I hope you actually slow down and obey the sign, or you will be paying the fine. So before we get to the video, please do me a favor and hit subscribe. And I also want to give a big shout out to Officer Eric Johnsen of the Antioch Police Department, who came in and did some audio and explained yesterday's activities, where you will see over the next 10 minutes a lot of traffic officers pulling out of their hiding spots and writing some citations. Take care.
Hi, I'm Officer Eric Johnsen with the Antioch Police Department. I'm currently assigned to the traffic unit. Yesterday, we did a proactive enforcement detail with the other motor units from the East County, Contra Costa County area, which is Pittsburg, Oakley, Antioch, Brentwood, and we also had some help from the local CHP Martinez office. Yesterday, we focused on traffic enforcement in the city of Antioch and the city of Oakley. We wrote approximately 150 citations. Most of those citations were for vehicle code violations such as speeding, failure to obey signs, and cell phone violations. We usually do these special enforcement details with the joint agencies in the East County area probably about 2 times a month. And we do this because most of the motor units in East County, they're smaller units, so the departments wanted to team up. So we have major enforcement days and have a lot of officers on the street conducting traffic enforcement. It definitely helps to do these type of joint operations with the other motor units. Myself and Officer Solari, right now we're the only 2 traffic units on the motorcycle, and we're the only ones that are dedicated doing traffic enforcement. We'd like to hopefully expand that unit in the near future, but we tend to focus on some of the major thoroughfares in our city, which 2 being Lone Tree and James Donlin Boulevard. We have a lot of traffic from vehicles going both east, west, north, south on Lone Tree and east, west on James Donlin Boulevard. We tend to focus on those areas because there's a lot of traffic on those areas, but not only that, it's because of vehicle collisions, fatal vehicle accidents, and complaints from residents that live on those roadways. So we generally tend to focus on speed enforcement. So on Tuesday, for example, a Pittsburg police officer spotted a vehicle that was traveling at a high rate of speed east on James Donlin Boulevard. I believe that he got the vehicle on his radar or his LiDAR device at over 85 miles per hour. The vehicle actually fled when the officer attempted to stop it, and the subject basically parked and got out of the vehicle and fled on foot. They were able to find the subject and arrest him a short time earlier. But for James Donlin Boulevard specifically for traffic enforcement, we've had numerous serious injury collisions and fatalities on that roadway. Specifically, there's a little bit of an S-curve east of Contra Boulevard around Blythe. So between G Street and Blythe, there's a little bit of an S-curve there. And when vehicles, what we've found is when vehicles are traveling at speeds greater than 55 to 60 miles per hour, they're not able to negotiate that S-curve, and they end up losing control of their vehicle. There's trees in the center median. There's other things that they can hit besides the other traffic on those roadways. So we'd like people to remember that James Donlin Boulevard is a 40 mile per hour zone in both directions. That speed limit was actually increased a couple of years ago. It used to be 35, but when they did the traffic engineering surveys, they increased it to 40. But even then, most of the speeding enforcement and most of the speeds that we get on that roadway are over 55 miles per hour. I think the fastest that I've gotten on that roadway is probably like around 70 or 80 miles per hour. So as far as school zones in our city and pretty much every city, there's really no tolerance. When school is in session, the speed limit in school zones, when it's posted, it's 25 miles per hour. For example, on Lone Tree Way between Deer Valley Road and I believe it's Indian Hills, Lone Tree Way is normally a 45 mile per hour zone in that area, but when school is in session, when the high school kids are walking in the morning and in the afternoon, that speed limit reduces to 25 miles per hour. And a lot of drivers, they're driving through those areas and they're going 45 mile per hour, and they're not reducing their speed and paying attention to the sign or the school zone. There's also no tolerance for distracted driving. April actually happens to be Distracted Driving Awareness Month, where we try to focus our enforcement on distracted driving, cell phone violations, using your cell phone while you're driving, not in the hands-free mode, or texting. And those are also no tolerance in school zones. Some of the things, one thing I definitely would like to address is juveniles that are driving on permits only without a licensed driver in the vehicle. When you get for the parents out there, when your child becomes 16 or 15 and a half and gets their permit, they cannot drive a vehicle by themselves on a permit unless they have a licensed driver in the vehicle. That licensed driver has to be an adult, a parent. It can't be an 18-year-old kid with a license, and then they have to accompany them, and then they have to basically supervise them while they're driving. But once you get your permit, you can't drive on your permit by yourself. It's also when juveniles get their driver's license, the first year of their driver's license, their license is provisional, which basically means that they can drive by themselves, but they're not to transport other juveniles in the vehicle for any reason. There are a couple of exceptions, one of them being siblings. If the licensed juvenile is driving their sibling to school, if they have a note from their parent, and if there's exigent circumstances, like hardships, there's no other way to get the child to school, with written permission from the parent, they can drive a sibling, but it's only to and from school. It's not to take them to the movies. It's not to take them to sporting events or, a friend's house or other than that. And the reason that's important, I feel, is because I think it's proven with collisions that juveniles, unfortunately, they're inexperienced drivers. And when they get other juveniles in the vehicle and then they become distracted, whether they're listening to music, they're talking to friends, their focus isn't on what it should be, and that should be driving safely. And unfortunately, bad things can happen. We can have collisions, and sometimes they can be, very serious injury accidents. Traffic enforcement, it's one of the number one ways that officers conduct enforcement activity, not only for the traffic offense, but also it can lead up to other arrests. For example, for me, I've had numerous stops where I've stopped vehicles for running stop signs or speeding, and after you stop the driver and we conduct the investigation, the driver's found to be in possession of a gun. I've gotten 2 or 3 guns off of drivers that I've stopped just on traffic violations. I've gotten a murder suspect. I stopped a driver that was speeding on Lone Tree Way. And when I ran his name out, he had a murder warrant out of San Francisco. But officers get that all the time. Traffic enforcement is one of the leading ways that officers are able to do proactive police work, and it leads to other things: finding illegal guns, finding drugs in the car, finding subjects that are wanted for warrants. Some of the moving violations that you see, that not moving violations, but the mechanical violations, expired registration, lights not working, headlights, one headlight out, tail lights out, signal lights out. Those are probably another big one is that I see a lot is the tinted windows. A lot of people don't realize that in California, you're not supposed to have any tinted windows other than the factory tint on the front side windows and on the windshield. So I'm talking about the drivers and passengers, the 2 front windows, which are the front passenger compartment and the windshield. I see drivers all the time that you can't even see in the vehicle because the window tint is so dark. And I think it's dangerous because, especially at night, it's your visibility's less if it's foggy, if it's rainy out. And not only that, for an officer safety thing, we can't see in the vehicle, so we can't see who we're stopping. We can't see if that person might be armed or what they might be doing.
So as you can see, a lot of East County drivers do not follow the speed limits, do not obey the traffic laws, and do not obey the sign, and they are getting citations. The traffic units in East Contra Costa are hard at work trying to keep the community safe, and I just kind of wanted to showcase that a little bit. I know a lot of the clips were a little repetitive, but that's what happens when you write 150 tickets in one day and Brentwood launches a safety campaign. There's a lot of drivers that really just need to begin to change habit. And I hope you do, because I do not want to see you on East County today as some of these traffic collisions. I really hate doing it, but it's not to embarrass people. It's that hopefully people begin to change their habit, which is why I showcase a lot of the accidents. Anyway, if you liked the video, please hit subscribe, check out some of my other videos, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.